Chapter 3483. Within the 100 Cities Alliance, all the members of the Dragon Palace who had infiltrated the cities were attacked. Within a short span of 10 hours, more than 500 Dragon Palace disciples were killed. Wang Xian's eyes flickered when he heard the news. The 100 Cities Alliance had the ability to detect the divine dragon bloodline. Wang Xian wasn't sure if he could detect the venom-horned dragon through this method. If he could, the venom-horned dragon wouldn't be able to parasitize and destroy a city like it did in the past. He would have to rely on his strength next. However, there was no conclusion yet. Wang Xian had to test it out with the venom-horned dragon. He immediately contacted Yaqi Demon Fiend and asked them to send a few venom-horned dragons to Muyang City. Before that, he ordered the venom-horned dragon to parasitize a few members of Muyang City. Yaqi Demon Fiend received the order and executed it immediately. Wang Xian waited quietly in Muyang City. 10 days later, the venom-horned dragon sent by Yaqi Demon Fiend arrived. Within these 10 days, the 100 Cities Alliance had fallen into a state of peace. The residents of the 100 Cities Alliance had already left, and the cities were no longer as lively and glorious as before. Some shops were closed in the desolate cities. As time passed, the population of the 100 Cities Alliance would decrease. Wang Xian came to the city gate immediately after receiving the news from Yaqi Demon Fiend and the rest. He entered a shop and pretended to look at something. Outside the city, the 4 figures that had just flown out of the city turned back again. They exchanged glances and flew into the city. They were the venom-horned dragon parasitizing the disciples of Muyang City. They entered the city, chatting and laughing as they walked forward. At the same time, within the towering tree in the City Lord's mansion, a bright dragon eye was reflected in the center. At this moment, the dragon eye suddenly lit up. Below it, the 2 old men opened their eyes immediately. A scene appeared in front of the dragon eye. In the scene, 4 figures were walking in Muyang City. There's a strong divine dragon aura in their bodies. Their strength is at the level of a universe venerable. Courting death. The 2 old men's faces were filled with killing intent. One of them moved and disappeared in an instant. He flew towards the east gate of the city at a terrifying speed. Wang Xian was in a shop, constantly sensing the condition of the venom-horned dragon. After following the venom-horned dragons for about 10 minutes, he suddenly felt a surge of energy attacking the 4 venom-horned dragons. This energy wasn't something the venom-horned dragon could react to. First Order Universe Sovereigns. Return to the Dragon Palace immediately. Wang Xian sensed the aura and immediately sent a message to the venom-horned dragon. At the same time, he made his move. Compared to the figure that was charging over, Wang Xian's speed was even more terrifying. Bam! His figure disappeared from the spot, and in the next instant, his palm pierced through the First Order Sovereign Realm Expert's body. Buzz! Then, without any hesitation, he disappeared in an instant. The terrifying aura disappeared in a flash, and the entire city gate was instantly turned into ruins. Horrified screams resounded. Some of the nearby residents of Muyang City also screamed in fear. Some of the more timid ones instantly left. Su. At this moment, the formation shone brightly. One by one, figures flew over at a terrifying speed. 5 figures arrived in the sky above the ruins, and their faces were extremely ugly. This was because a First Order Sovereign Realm Expert had fallen. All of them took in a deep breath, and their faces were dark. What happened in Muyang City wasn't a big deal. Even the news of a First Order Sovereign Realm Expert being killed wasn't leaked out. However, this incident still caused a huge commotion on the universe artificial intelligence. Damn, the 100 Cities Alliance has already fallen into the flames of war. If this continues, who would dare to stay there? Serves them right. They hunted the disciples of the Dragon Palace, and the Dragon Palace took revenge on them. Now, they're finished. If this continues, I reckon that all the people of the 100 Cities Alliance will run away. The neutral forces will also become a joke. Countless people were discussing on the universe artificial intelligence. They were worried about the future of the 100 Cities Alliance. The current 100 Cities Alliance was no longer the neutral force of the past. A dragon palace had forced them into a passive position. Wang Xian wasn't too concerned about the universe artificial intelligence and the 100 Cities Alliance. However, what happened just now wasn't good news for the Dragon Palace. The 100 Cities Alliance already has a way to detect the divine dragon bloodline. Even the venom-horned dragons can't enter the cities. The previous method won't work. Wang Xian looked at Barky Demonshaw and the rest as he spoke. This made the two of them frown slightly. Barky Demunch's strength had broken through to the second-order universe sovereign realm after absorbing the energy of Devil Skeleton. With such strength, they thought they could easily destroy a city. Now, it seemed like it wasn't possible. Barky Demonshaw and the venom-horned dragons are free to roam. Roving Demon. As Wang Xian spoke, he looked at Roving Demon beside him. Yes, sir. Roving Demon replied immediately. Bring some men to patrol the surrounding cities of the 100 Cities Alliance. The Spike Dragon will carry out a large-scale assassination on the disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance. Be careful. Wang Xian instructed. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Demon replied immediately. The Dragon Palace Lord wanted to upgrade the venom-horned dragon species and the spike dragon species. Currently, there were 5 first-order universe sovereigns among the spike dragon species and over 80 pinnacle universe supremacies. There were even more at the other levels. If they spread out to hunt the disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance, it would definitely bring disaster to the 100 Cities Alliance. Be careful. They have many tricks up their sleeves. Wang Xian instructed. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Demon and the rest nodded. All right. He nodded his head and flew outside. His target this time was still the land of Devil Bone. The land of blood plasma could help the progenitor tree bear blood refinement fruits. He needed to accumulate more blood refinement fruits so that the Dragon Palace could produce more purebred divine dragons in the future. Purebred divine dragons were the foundation of the divine dragon bloodline. Only purebred divine dragons had the opportunity to give birth to other powerful dragon species and mutate into frost divine dragons, bone dragons, dual elemental divine dragons, or even quintuple elemental divine dragons. As for the 100 Cities Alliance, he would take revenge bit by bit. When he broke through again, it would be the time for the war to break out. Chapter 3484, Wang. A few months later, Wang Xian came to the blood pool and sat at the deepest spot with a smile. The branches of the progenitor tree were planted deep into the ground as he sat there quietly. As the days passed, the blood refinement fruit started to solidify. However, up till now, the war between the Dragon Palace and the 100 Cities Alliance had finally erupted. In the past, Wang Xian merely used the venom-horned dragon to obtain information before wiping out one city after another. But now, it was a competition of strength and assassination in the dark. This was a head-on clash. Around each city, 200,000 Spinosaurus species were distributed in the surroundings. Today, there were 95 cities in the 100 Cities Alliance. 95 cities, and each city had over 2,000 Spinosaurus species. This was considered more scattered. They hid around the cities of the 100 Cities Alliance and monitored the entire city. Even the weakest among them had the combat power of a rank 3 universe supremacy. In the 9 cities that were wiped out, 50% of the resources were concentrated in the Spinosaurus species. When disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance flew out of the cities, Roving Demon and the rest would carry out the assassination. The surroundings of the cities were vast. It was impossible for the disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance to stay in the cities and not come out. They needed to improve and survive. Was it possible for all the disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance to stay in the Holy Kingdom and not come out? That was no different from being suppressed in the Grotto Heaven and Blessed Land. When they flew out, it was the time for them to be assassinated. Fut fut fut. In the sky above a city, a dozen people flew out of the city and headed in one direction. Suddenly, Spinosaurus species appeared around them, sliced their necks, and killed them. The assassination was ongoing. Even though there were very few disciples in the cities of the 100 Cities Alliance, with over 90 cities, the number of people entering and exiting could reach tens of millions. After all, The number of disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance was too huge. But now, a large number of disciples and experts were suddenly killed at the entrance of the 100 Cities Alliance. Especially later on, after a few disciples escaped death from the spike dragon species, they talked about it on the Universe AI. When I was leaving the city, I was ambushed. My companions were all killed. In the beginning, this kind of sporadic news did not attract much attention. But slowly, as time passed, half a year later, more and more people posted this information on the Universe AI. The number of people posting this kind of message reached thousands. A few thousand wasn't a lot, but these few thousand people realized that something wasn't right. They gathered together on the Universe's AI and collectively announced this news. 4 months ago, I came out with a dozen companions and was suddenly assassinated. I was the only one who survived. Similarly, more than 10 days ago, I, the leader, and 100 others were preparing to hunt some dire beasts when we suffered a terrifying attack. A terrifying light and darkness figure appeared out of nowhere, and only I managed to escape. My family and I were also assassinated. My entire family was killed, and I was the only one alive. It's too terrifying. As far as I know, very few people who left the city in the past 6 months came back alive. I keep feeling that the situation outside the city has suddenly become very scary. All of my friends who left the city have lost contact with me. Information after information spread within the 100 Cities Alliance. As the number of people increased, it quickly attracted some people's attention. This means that our bounty hunter squad left the city 2 months ago and there's no news at all. It's the same on my side. I can't contact my family who left the city at all. Someone is assassinating people around our city. There were many people going in and out of the 100 Cities Alliance every day. In half a year, the number of missing people had reached a terrifying number. What happened to a few thousand people attracted even more people. This was because many of their friends and family had lost contact with them after leaving the city. There were a lot of people in this group. In just 10 hours, the Universe AI reported that the number of missing friends and family had reached tens of millions. When everyone saw this number, they were in an uproar. Someone is assassinating all of our 100 Cities Alliance's disciples who left the city. Someone is attacking us. What's going on? Have the leaders of the 100 Cities Alliance found out anything yet? What's going on? Is this real or fake? Is Dragon Palace purposely creating panic? Or is it the truth? Many questions appeared on the Universe AI. I have a photo of the assassin here. It's this. As time passed, someone suddenly exposed the photo of the spike dragon species. A terrifying existence that alternated between light and darkness. Half light and half darkness, it was hidden in the void. Looking on silently, it was extremely terrifying. This is the spike dragon species of the god dragon race. Back then, they were the pinnacle race of the god dragon race. Terrifying assassins. Among the pinnacle races, they were also terrifying assassins. Even at the pinnacle of the god dragon race, there were very few of them, less than 10,000. Immediately, someone recognized the spike dragon species and explained it on the Universe AI. Spike dragon species? This is definitely a strong dragon species of Dragon Palace. According to Dragon Palace's history, they have powerful assassins. This is definitely the work of the spike dragon species, SSS. A pinnacle god dragon species assassinated our 100 Cities Alliance's disciples. The 100 Cities Alliance's disciples and experts felt a chill when they saw this. Pinnacle dragon species, this could be said to be the pinnacle race. Moreover, it was a pinnacle existence in the universe. This kind of existence was born to fight and even assassinate other pinnacle race beings. But now, it had locked onto the 100 Cities Alliance. Moreover, within a short span of half a year, a large number of the 100 Cities Alliance's disciples had been assassinated. To them, this was simply bad news. This was simply hell mode. Not long ago, the 100 Cities Alliance announced that the annihilation of the cities would never happen. They already had a way to defend against the sudden attack from Dragon Palace. Now, the annihilation of the cities did not happen. However, The outside of the cities were under attack. God knew how many disciples had been assassinated. If this went on, wouldn't the 100 Cities Alliance's disciples never be able to leave the cities? Has the 100 Cities Alliance found out? Prime Minister Turtle, announce in the name of Dragon Palace that Dragon Palace will be hunting down all the disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance. Warn the other cities to cut off the teleportation formations with the 100 Cities Alliance. Otherwise, don't blame us for any accidental injuries. At the bottom of the blood pool, Wang Xian received the message from Prime Minister Turtle and replied with a smile. Now was the time for Dragon Palace to turn the tables. Back when the 100 Cities Alliance announced that they would be hunting down Dragon Palace, they warned the other cities not to let the disciples of Dragon Palace enter their cities. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. Now, it was time for them to hunt down the 100 Cities Alliance and warn the other cities. Chapter 3485, Dragon Palace. From today onwards, Dragon Palace will use all its power to hunt down all disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance. Remind all forces not to open the teleportation formation with the 100 Cities Alliance. It'll be bad if you accidentally get hurt. Suddenly, a piece of news caused the 100 Cities Alliance, which was already a hot topic, to explode once again in the midst of the turbulent, chaotic continent. The explosive news came from Dragon Palace's announcement. This was the first announcement Dragon Palace made since entering Primordial Continent. When all the experts from the various forces saw this announcement, their faces were filled with shock. Is this Dragon Palace's announcement? Is Dragon Palace announcing that the people who were assassinated around the cities of the 100 Cities Alliance were killed? WTF, this Dragon Palace's announcement is so domineering. Not only did it announce to hunt down all disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance, it also warned the other cities to cut off contact with them. Isn't this announcement the same as the 100 Cities Alliances a few years ago? Now it's Dragon Palace's turn. Pinnacle dragon species, Spike Dragon, assassinating disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance. Just thinking about it is terrifying. This time, the 100 Cities Alliance is in even more trouble. How will they defend? On the Universe AI, countless people were shocked when they saw Dragon Palace's announcement. The river flows east for 30 years and west for 30 years. Not long ago, the 100 Cities Alliance wanted to hunt down disciples of Dragon Palace. However, after a few years, the 100 Cities Alliance became what it was today. Dragon Palace started to hunt down disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance. Especially since the legendary Spike Dragon species was hunting down disciples of the 100 Cities Alliance. This was a huge pressure for the disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance. It was the same logic as the assassins of the Underworld clan hunting them. Would you be afraid if the experts of the Pinnacle races assassinated you? Luckily, I escaped from the 100 Cities Alliance early. I wonder what will happen to the 100 Cities Alliance. Is it going to die? Dragon Palace's strength has exceeded everyone's imagination. Countless people were discussing on the Universe AI. On the other hand, everyone in the 100 Cities Alliance had extremely ugly expressions on their faces. They had just solved the danger of the city being destroyed and now there was danger outside the city. Couldn't they go out? They were in despair. Were they not going to go out in the future? However, most of the disciples and experts of the 100 Cities Alliance decided to go into secluded cultivation and only come out after a few thousand or even a few 100,000 years. When the city lords of the 100 Cities Alliance saw this, their bodies trembled violently. No matter what, their losses this time were too great. Next, they had to think of a way to deal with the spike dragons around their city. The city lords were slightly exhausted. They had never expected that the Dragon Palace would force them to such a state. When the Alliance Master of the 100 Cities Alliance received the news, he fell silent. He pondered for a long time before giving an order. All the Universe Ruler level experts arrived and held a 100 City Alliance meeting. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the 100 Cities Alliance had reached a critical juncture. Time passed day by day, but the 100 Cities Alliance did not give any response. Some experts only knew that a large number of experts from the 100 City Alliance had begun to investigate the city's surroundings. But they didn't find anything. After the Dragon Palace released the message, the Spinosaurus species returned to the Dragon Palace. How could they wait for the other party's revenge? Only Roving Demon and a few other Universe Ruler-level Spinosaurus species were still active outside. Who would have thought that the Dragon Palace would actually force the 100 Cities Alliance to such a state? At this very moment, it was located in an awe-inspiring underground. Countless roots interweaved underground, and within a hole formed by the roots, a dozen figures sat there. They looked at the news in front of them in shock. The one who spoke was Azure Dragon Moon. That's right, the 100 Cities Alliance isn't weak, yet they were forced to such a state by the Dragon Palace. Furthermore, the Dragon Palace should have quite a number of Spinosaurus species. Those are peak dragon species. Beside Azure Dragon Moon, an old man sighed. That Dragon King should be a second-order universe ruler, right? Another middle-aged man looked at Azure Dragon Moon suspiciously. He should have broken through. Back when I first met him, he could easily kill a first-order universe ruler. He should have broken through by now. Azure Dragon Moon nodded. Azure Dragon Moon, why don't you invite the Dragon King to enter the Tangled Land with us? An old man said. This, Azure Dragon Moon pondered. If he goes, it would mean that the Dragon Palace is participating in the war between the Ancestral Dragon and the Sacred Dragon bloodline. Sigh, we have no other choice now. This is something left behind by Senior Azure Dragon Dutian. We can't let the Sacred Dragon bloodline get it. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace has always been on the same side as us. You can tell us everything clearly. If the Dragon King doesn't want to go, we won't force him. The old man sighed and said. All right. Azure Dragon Moon pondered for a moment before nodding his head. He took out the Universe AI and sent some information to Wang Xian. The experts of the Angel Clan. Have they really intervened? After sending the message, Azure Dragon Moon looked at the old man and asked. The Sacred Dragon bloodline has gained 5 innate cardinal treasures. The old man said solemnly. A few seconds later, he added, if not, how could Senior Azure Dragon Dutian have been killed? Azure Dragon Moon fell silent with sorrow in his eyes. The Ancestral Dragon bloodline wasn't having a good time, especially the experts of the Ancestral Dragon bloodline who were facing a terrifying crisis. Although the Angel Clan didn't send their experts directly, the innate cardinal treasures were also a form of help. A sense of helplessness lingered in everyone's hearts. At the same time, Wang Xianyu's Universe AI, which was located underground in the blood pool, shook. He immediately opened it and saw the message from Azure Dragon Moon. The blood pool. The Dragon Palace of a third-order universe sovereign senior from the Ancestral Dragon bloodline. This senior was killed by the experts of the Sacred Dragon bloodline. When Wang Xian saw this message, he was shocked. The Dragon Palace of a third-order universe sovereign expert. All the treasures of that senior were in there. Azure Dragon Moon asked if he was interested, and he also mentioned a problem. That was, the search for the Dragon Palace might be extremely dangerous. The danger came from the Sacred Dragon bloodline. The Sacred Dragon bloodline was also very interested in the Dragon Palace of such an expert. Once Wang Xian got involved, it might be dangerous for the Dragon Palace. This meant that the Dragon Palace would be completely involved in their war. Chapter 3486. The Sacred Dragon bloodline has already sent people to kill me. Even the Holy Dragon's son used his innate treasure. Why would I care about becoming enemies with them? Wang Xian murmured. He didn't mind participating in the war between the Sacred Dragon bloodline and the Ancestral Dragon bloodline. In fact, the Dragon Palace had participated right from the start. It was just that the Dragon Palace was fishing in troubled waters and didn't contribute much. Later on, the disciples of the Dragon Palace were attacked by the 100 Cities Alliance. That was when the Dragon Palace clashed with the 100 Cities Alliance. The Dragon Palace of a third-order universe sovereign realm Azure Dragon must have a lot of treasures. According to Azure Dragon Moon's message, I'll get at least 30% of the treasures. If I contribute more, I'll get more. Wang Xian murmured. He pondered for a moment before replying to Azure Dragon Moon. Soon, Azure Dragon Moon sent back a message. They would gather in 2 months. Wang Xian looked at the location of the gathering. It would take about 10 days to reach the Eternal Heaven River. He looked at the blood refinement fruit in front of him. The timing was just right. The blood refinement fruit would ripen in about a month's time. At that time, he would have 2 blood refinement fruits. After giving Azure Dragon Moon an accurate reply, Wang Xian waited patiently. The Dragon King has agreed. We'll gather in 2 months. At the same time, Azure Dragon Moon looked at the people around him and said, "Good. With a second-order universe sovereign like the Dragon King, we'll have a higher chance of success." The few old men nodded their heads. Among them, the strongest was only a second-order sovereign realm expert. Time passed day by day and the second blood refinement fruit gradually ripened in the pool of blood. The entire fruit gave off an alluring glow. Wang Xian looked at the fruit and revealed a smile. Wang, huh? At this moment, Wang Xian sensed something strange around him. He squinted his eyes and sat there motionlessly, sensing his surroundings. Whoosh! At this moment, he saw a dire beast that looked like a rat charging towards him at a terrifying speed. This rat was blood-red in color and exuded a powerful blood aura. It had blood-red teeth and terrifying speed. A first-order universe sovereign wild beast. Wang Xian's eyes flashed coldly. He waved his arm and grabbed it. He used his energy to imprison it. A smile appeared on his face. It was too easy for him to obtain a first-order sovereign realm desolate beast. His luck was not bad. Boom. However, at this moment, a bloody thigh appeared beside him. The surging blood aura made Wang Xian hold his breath. This blood-red thigh seemed to have appeared out of thin air, causing his expression to change drastically. Buzz. The Tai Chi dragon board appeared around Wang Xian to defend against the sudden attack. Pa pa pa. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes at the sound of something shattering. The Tai Chi dragon coil was defeated again. After the Tai Chi dragon coil reached the second-order universe sovereign realm, it had been broken several times. Blood-red skeleton legs. However, even though the Tai Chi dragon plate had collapsed, a powerful backlash was still rebounding towards it. When Wang Xian saw the assailant, he narrowed his eyes. No, it was a pink skeleton leg. The parts of the pink skull, courting death. Sensing the attack of the pink skeleton legs, Wang Xian's eyes turned cold. Whoosh. However, the pink skeleton legs did not retreat even after suffering the backlash from the Tai Chi dragon coil. Instead, they disappeared into thin air. In the next instant, they appeared beside the blood refinement fruit. A wave of energy shrouded the blood refinement fruit. Its target was the blood refinement fruit. The blood refinement fruit was definitely a rare treasure in the world. It was not uncommon for it to attract skeletons and desolate beasts. However, this pink skeleton leg was a little terrifying. It was strong enough to kill a second-order universe sovereign. Most importantly, its attack was strange and terrifying, as though it could break through the void. Courting death. Wang Xian's face turned cold when he saw it grabbing towards the blood refinement fruit. The blood refinement fruit was born by the progenitor tree. With a thought, the blood refinement fruit disappeared instantly. Buzz. Kill it. In the next instant, Dark Ghost, Water Tentacle King, Lingling, and the 5 Elements Grindstone appeared. This was all they had, a move that could strike fear into the hearts of those at the same level. With a flash of blue light, mirrors appeared out of thin air. The mirrors looked a little illusory. Dark Ghost's 5 Elements Grindstone attacked directly. Lingling wielded the powerful 9th grade Water Lotus Staff and released a thunderbolt. A restraining thunderbolt. Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning saint wings and arrived before the pink skeleton leg in an instant. Buzz, buzz. The pink skeleton leg sensed the surrounding energy locking onto it and shivered. Buzz, buzz. Its entire body emitted a blood-colored radiance, which split into a dozen pink skeleton legs and fled in all directions. Bam, bam, bam. Wang Xian's 5 Elements Grindstone, Dark Ghost, and the rest's attacks landed on the pink skeleton leg. Each of the pink skeleton legs seemed to be solid. When the powerful attacks landed on them, the energy on the pink skeleton legs dimmed significantly. Buzz. At this instant, the dozen pink skeleton legs shone brightly. One by one, the pink skeleton legs disappeared, leaving only the one that was fleeing at the front. In an instant, it dashed forward like a water mirror. It dashed into the water mirror but did not destroy it. In the next instant, it appeared in another water mirror, closer to Wang Xian and the rest. Ha ha ha, foolish thing. Trying to escape from me, the Water Tentacle King? Seeing this, the Water Tentacle King revealed a maniacal smile. This time, the Water Tentacle King had devoured most of the elixir pills and water-attributed treasures from the 4 cities. After recovering its strength, it had also recovered a lot of its techniques. Seeing this, Wang Xian was pleasantly surprised. The Water Tentacle King's techniques were indeed strange. Dragon Claw. He extended his dragon claw and grabbed at the pink skeleton leg. The 5 elements grindstone, dark ghost, and the rest had completely sealed the surroundings of the pink skeleton leg. Bam! As the dragon claw grabbed, waves of energy attacked it. The destructive power of the 5 elements melted away the vitality and soul in its body. Ah! From within the pink skeleton leg, screams could be heard before they gradually faded away. Still coveting my blood refinement fruit? Courting death. Wang Xian smiled as he looked on. This was a great harvest. If he gave the pink skeleton leg to Princess Ling Honggu, he could exchange it for at least 2 second-order universe sovereigns with demonic skeletons. Or even more. This was one of the stronger body parts of the pink skeleton leg that Wang Xian had obtained. It was even stronger than the pink skeleton finger. Logically speaking, exchanging it for 3 of the same level shouldn't be a problem. However, Wang Xian didn't mind. Even if it was 1 for 1, he wouldn't reject it. After all, they were friends. Before meeting up with Green Dragon Moon, I'll make a trip to the spirit demon race. Wang Xian murmured. Chapter 3487, It's ripe. After more than 10 days, the blood refinement fruit ripened. Wang Xian smiled. Luck was on his side this time. The blood refinement fruit had even attracted a second-order universe Lord Pink Skeleton Leg and a first-order universe Lord Wild Beast. Perhaps the Wild Beast was manipulated by the skeleton leg to attract Wang Xian's attention. But that wasn't important. What was important was that they were all killed by Wang Xian. Not bad. Wang. He took out a teleportation item, moved his body, and instantly disappeared. In the next moment, he arrived at a skeleton palace of the spirit demon race. He sent a message to Ling Honggu, but there was no reply after waiting for a while. She should be cultivating in seclusion. She should be able to raise her strength to third-order universe lord after obtaining 3 parts of pink skeleton. Wang Xian murmured. This brother from the spirit demon race, Wang Xian from Dragon Palace, would like to meet the spirit demon king. He glanced at the spirit demon guards and said, Yes, Lord Wang Xian. The guard of the spirit demon tribe recognized Wang Xian. He nodded and went to report. Wang. Welcome, Wang Xian. Soon, the spirit demon king appeared and greeted Wang Xian with a smile. Sorry to disturb you, Lord Spirit Demon King. I was trying to contact Princess Ling Honggu, but I couldn't get in touch with her. So sorry to disturb you. Wang Xian chuckled. As he spoke, he moved his palm and said, I caught a pink skeleton leg in the blood pool. What? The Spirit Demon King was taken aback. Looking at the pink skeleton leg that contained terrifying energy, his eyes were filled with surprise and joy. Great. Thank you so much, Wang Xian. The parts of pink skeleton are extremely important to Honggu now. The power contained in this pink skeleton leg is second only to the pink skeleton head. He thanked Wang Xian excitedly. The pink skeleton was the only key for Ling Honggu to advance to the Universe Lord realm. It was also the only hope for the spirit demon race to have a Universe Lord realm expert. Previously, when Wang Xian could take out 2 parts of the pink skull, it had already shocked them. How long had it been? And he got another one? I'm just lucky. He ambushed me, but I managed to suppress him. Wang Xian smiled. Haha, it's Honggu's good fortune to have met Wang Xian. The Spirit Demon King laughed out loud. With a wave of his arm, a pitch-black skull mask floated in front of him. Brother Wang Xian, this pink skull leg is very important to Honggu. We have nothing to repay you with. Please accept this treasure. This innate spiritual treasure is called the skull-cross nail. A fallen angel once used this skull-cross nail to kill an archangel of light. It has a great restraining effect on light. You have a grudge against the divine dragon bloodline, so perhaps this can be used. As he spoke, the cross-skull mask, although it was a mask, was called the cross-skull nail. It had been dyed in the blood of an archangel. Archangels were powerful existences at the universe ruler realm. The skull-cross spikes floated above Wang Xian. He could feel the terrifying energy contained within. That was no ordinary carnate numinous treasure. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and looked at the Spirit Demon King. Spirit Demon King, this is too precious. Ha, compared to this pink skeleton leg, this is nothing. The Spirit Demon King shook his head. Wang Xian smiled and did not say anything more. He reached out and held the cross-skull mask in his hand. He could feel that the power of light in his body was under extreme suppression. This was indeed an innate spiritual treasure that was dyed in the blood of an archangel. It was far from what ordinary innate spiritual treasures could compare to. Wang Xian estimated that this innate spiritual treasure was no weaker than the light spear that the sacred dragon bloodline had used to ambush him. That light spear had instantly broken his Tai Chi dragon coil. Thank you, Spirit Demon King. Wang Xian's eyes shone. He hesitated for a moment before he waved his hand and a fruit appeared in his hand. This was the fruit of resurrection, a heaven-defying fruit that could resurrect people. This was also the strongest fruit of the Dragon Palace. This is for Princess Ling Honggu. Spirit Demon King, let's meet again if there's a chance. He cupped his hands and his figure began to turn illusory. The Spirit Demon King was taken aback. Looking at the fruit floating in the void, his expression changed. He waved his hand and held it in his hand to feel the energy within. The next moment, his eyes shone with astonishment. Fruit of resurrection. The Spirit Demon King was shocked. It's such a precious fruit. He actually took it out and gave it to Honggu. Could it be that he has taken a fancy to Honggu? The Spirit Demon King couldn't help but guess. After all, this fruit was too precious. It was so precious that the entire spirit demon race didn't have such a powerful fruit. Treasures related to resurrection were extremely rare. It was so precious that the Spirit Demon King couldn't help but make wild guesses. Hihi, this Wang Xian isn't bad. If the news is true, he's the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. He might be able to step into the Universe Lord realm in the future. The Spirit Demon King chuckled and kept the fruit. With a flash, he returned to his holy kingdom. As for his daughter, she was in her holy kingdom, undergoing integration and breakthrough. Wang Xian didn't know what the Spirit Demon King was thinking. If he knew, he would definitely vomit blood. Giving the fruit of resurrection was just a way of returning the favor. If the spirit demon race was a good friend, then Wang Xian wouldn't be an errand either. As for the fruit of resurrection, there were plenty of such fruits in the Dragon Palace. If it wasn't for the fear of attacking recklessly, other forces would covet it. It would attract the covetous eyes of other forces. Wang Xian wanted to sell a few hundred of them so that he could reach the 4th or even 5th order Universe Lord realm. It was a pity that it was best not to leak such a treasure. Otherwise, he couldn't guarantee that the experts from the pinnacle races wouldn't covet it. A fruit of such a grade was comparable to the fruit of life of the elf race. Wang Xian returned to his holy kingdom. With a flash, he arrived at the blessed land below the water of the heavens. After exiting the blessed land, he immediately flew towards the agreed location with Azure Dragon Moon. At this moment, he was wearing a creepy cross-skull mask that emitted a terrifying aura. However, his body was also emitting wood-attributed energy, which made him look a little creepy. The agreed location with Azure Dragon Moon was at the edge of a forest. After flying for more than 10 days, he arrived at his destination. He scanned the surroundings and didn't find any traces of Azure Dragon Moon. He sent a message to the Universe AI. Dragon King? Brother Wang Xian? The next moment, Azure Dragon Moon appeared from a tree and called out to Wang Xian with doubt. He wasn't sure. At this moment, Wang Xian's aura was completely different from what he knew. Brother Azure Dragon Moon. Wang Xian looked at him and revealed a smile. The mask on his face gradually disappeared. It's really the Dragon King. I didn't dare to recognize your aura. Azure Dragon Moon revealed a smile and flew over immediately. Just call me Wang Xian. You don't have to be so distant. Wang Xian smiled. When he saw Azure Dragon Moon flying over, he patted his shoulder. Chapter 3488, Swish Swish Swish. Hello, Dragon King. Silhouettes slowly appeared on the surrounding trees. A dozen of them flew over and greeted Wang Xian. Hello. Wang Xian swept his gaze across them and nodded with a smile. 13 of them. Each of them had the combat strength of a Universe Lord. One of them was a second-order Universe Lord. There were only 2 purebred divine dragons, Azure Dragon Moon and the second-order Universe Lord. They were both purebred divine dragons. Other than them, Wang Xian sensed that one of them should be a pinnacle divine dragon with wood attributes. Dragon King, let me introduce you. This is my senior, Azure Dragon Shadow. This is, Azure Dragon Moon introduced them to Wang Xian. I've heard a lot about you. Haha, we should be the ones who have heard a lot about you. Dragon King, you've forced the 100 Cities Alliance to this state with your strength alone. Impressive. Azure Dragon Shadow chuckled. We're just taking advantage of the situation. Wang Xian replied modestly. There's no such thing as taking advantage of the situation in a war. The strength of the Dragon Palace is undeniable. We have great respect for you, Dragon King. Azure Dragon Shadow chuckled. Wang Xian chuckled and exchanged some pleasantries. Following which, they flew in a certain direction. The group of them stood on a wooden ship. The ship wasn't huge, only about 100 meters in length. It contained immense power. It flew at an extremely fast speed in the sky. This was Azure Dragon Shadow's flying treasure that could carry people. Their destination was the Entangled Land. The Land of Entanglement was a very peculiar place. It was a place that was relatively close to the elves. Above the Entangled Land was a huge forest. The forest was much larger than the Land of Devil Bones. The most amazing thing was that below the countless trees in the Entangled Land was an underground river world. Just like Earth in the past, it had an underground river. It was the same here. When they entered, it was an incomparably huge underground river. Above the Entangled Land and in the underground river, there were countless dire beasts. Over there, the majority were plant-type dire beasts. These dire beasts could be a flower or a tree. It was extremely dangerous. The Dragon Palace of the Senior from the ancestral dragon bloodline was in the underground river of the Entangled Land. After he was killed, the experts from the ancestral dragon bloodline would allow him to inherit the Dragon Palace. To prevent the sacred dragon bloodline from obtaining it. The sacred dragon bloodline also sent people to search for that senior's divine kingdom. After all, the divine country of a third-order sovereign realm expert was a huge treasure to the ancestral dragon bloodline and sacred dragon bloodline. After flying for 2 months, with 3 days of teleportation in the middle of the journey, they finally arrived in front of the Entangled Land. In a world shrouded in trees, towering trees rose from the ground, and the ground seemed wet. There were even water stains on the ground in some places. Let's go in. The Azure Dragon Whiskered Shadow said. The wooden ship rushed towards the ground. It broke through the soil and drilled downwards. Crash. 10 minutes later, they entered the underground river of the Twisted Land. The entire underground river was pitch black, but for powerhouses like them, unless it was a special energy zone, there was no difference between day and night. The water in this underground river still contains some energy. Wang Xian said with a smile as he felt the river water. To the weak, this river water was considered sacred water. It's also because of the energy in the underground river that the trees above are so lush. Brother Wang Xian, when you reach the bottom of the underground river, you will see that it's also a forest world. Azure Dragon Moon smiled and said, Brother Azure Dragon Moon, have you been here before? Wang Xian asked him curiously. I've been here once, but we don't know where that senior's dragon palace is. Azure Dragon Moon replied. The current ancestral dragon bloodline couldn't be compared to when the divine dragon bloodline was at its peak. At their peak, the divine dragon bloodline placed their dragon palace in a sea region, and everyone knew about it. The Dragon Palace was equivalent to a divine country. Everyone knew about a divine country. To ordinary experts, this would be courting death. However, everyone knew about the Dragon Palace back then, and no one dared to say that they wanted to annihilate a Dragon Palace. Even if it was a Dragon Palace below the Universe Lord realm. This was because they were the pinnacle races. It was different now. The Dragon Palace of that senior from the ancestral dragon bloodline was hidden, and it would be very troublesome to find it. Do you have any items or treasures of that senior? Wang Xian asked them. As long as they could find the treasures used by that senior when he was alive, they would be able to find it. It's useless. That senior mentioned that his Dragon Palace is specially concealed, and we can't find its exact location using witchcraft. We have to search it bit by bit. Azure Dragon Shadow shook his head. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Such existences had their own powerful abilities. It was normal for them to be able to conceal themselves from the detection of witchcraft. We can only use the most primitive method, a carpet search. Let's split up, and each of us will sense a region. Azure Dragon Shadow looked at them. All right. The group nodded their heads. We have to be careful here. Firstly, we have to be wary of the creatures in the underground river. According to the records, there might be wild beasts with the combat strength of third-order universe sovereigns here. Also, be careful of those from the divine dragon bloodline. They should have sent their experts here, Azure Dragon Shadow reminded. The group nodded their heads again. Dragon King, we are in the middle of them. If we encounter any danger, we can provide support. Azure Dragon Shadow looked at Wang Xian. No problem. Wang Xian nodded his head. Soon, the group split up. 2 pairs of them could sense each other's location, and a carpet search was carried out. Wang Xian came to a spot and scanned both sides. Forward and search. Azure Dragon Shadow's voice sounded. Wang Xian and the group flew forward and landed at the bottom of the underground river. At the bottom of the river, all kinds of trees and plants were growing. Some of the trees were tens of thousands of meters tall. The entire river bottom was full of life. Wang Xian could sense the presence of many fishes, but the cultivation levels of these fishes were not high. Sensing the surroundings and the front, they flew forward. They kept moving forward. After more than 10 hours, there were vibrations coming from the right. There were sounds of battle. What's going on? Wang Xian transmitted his voice. Dragon King, it's not a big problem. We encountered a first-order universe sovereign wild beast, and it has escaped. A voice said. Wang Xian nodded his head, and the group continued moving forward. Dragon King, the water energy here is abundant. This is a good place. The water tentacle king appeared on Wang Xian's shoulder. Her 3 eyes scanned the surroundings. Can you sense anything? Wang Xian asked her. My senses in the water are still very strong. Other than the weed ahead being a first-order universe sovereign realm desolate beast, I didn't sense anything else. The Water Tentacle King said. Chapter 3489. Oh? Wang Xian was shocked to hear what the Tentacle King said. He hadn't sensed the presence of any dire beasts, but the Water Tentacle King had sensed them. Wang Xian could even say that the Water Divine Dragon and Azure Dragon did not sense it. Hee, Dragon King, I'm a galactic beast, on the same level as the Divine Dragon. In fact, galactic beasts have abilities that other pinnacle races don't have. I, the Tentacle King, am very good at sensing underwater, the Tentacle King said confidently. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Over at the Eternal River of Heaven, the senses of the Water Tentacle King covered a terrifying area. Anlai's attempt to pluck the water lotus was easily sensed by the Tentacle King. The ability of the Tentacle King was not to be underestimated. Capture it. Wang Xian ordered the Tentacle King. Yes, Dragon King. Leave it to me. The Tentacle King waved its tentacles and one of its eyes glowed. A water mirror appeared in front of it. The plant-type desolate beast seemed to have sensed danger as it hurriedly fled into the distance. But in the next moment, a water mirror appeared in front of it and it dived into it. In the next moment, it appeared in front of Wang Xian and the rest. The Tentacle King waved its tentacles and killed it. What ability is that? Wang Xian could not help but ask when he saw the bizarre attack. It's a talent that belongs to us galactic beasts, the Tentacle King said. Wang Xian nodded slightly. This talent was not something that the experts of other races could learn. Pretty impressive, he commented. That's right. If not for the inborn cardinal treasure, I wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. When I recover, I'll pluck his feathers, the Tentacle King said furiously. Wang Xian chuckled and continued to fly forward. The Tentacle King was stronger than him in sensing underwater. Therefore, Wang Xian decided to let her sense the surroundings. A carpet search was time-consuming. According to Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest, if they were unlucky, they might not be able to find anything even after a decade. But if they were lucky, they might only need a few years, or even shorter. Compared to the time outside the Great Desolate Continent, a dozen years was as short as a dozen months. Wang Xian wasn't in a hurry. If that senior had sufficient resources in the Dragon Palace, he would be able to accumulate a lot of resources for his own improvement. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Be careful, run this way. Suddenly, a terrified voice came from the left. Lord Dragon King, Lord Azure Dragon Shadow, save me. A terrified cry for help was heard. Wang Xian looked over and saw the unbeginning saint wings appearing behind his back before disappearing in an instant. Su su su. On the left, a strange and terrifying wild beast attacked an expert from the ancestral dragon bloodline. It was a water snake, but the water snake was like a tree, with a thick snake body. There were many small snakes growing on the snake's body. These small snakes were like the branches of a tree, densely covering the snake. The powerhouse from the ancestral dragon's bloodline had a look of despair on his face as he looked at the countless water snakes. It's over. A second-order universe sovereign realm water snake couldn't escape even if it wanted to. Bastard, you're courting death. Just as he was about to lose all hope, a figure suddenly appeared beside him. Following that, an azure dragon's head attacked the desolate beast. At the same time, he saw a shadow flying over. The phantom also had terrifying tentacles with suction cups and sharp teeth on top of the tentacles. Hiss hiss hiss. Countless snake heads let out hissing sounds. They raised their heads and spat out water arrows. The water arrows were so dense that they covered the entire space. The Tai Chi dragon plate circled around the ancestral dragon bloodline expert, and Wang Xian's figure disappeared instantly. Let's test the power of the cross-skull nail. He appeared above the water snake, and the energy from his body surged into his face. A mask appeared, and a deep black cross fell towards the strange water snake. At the same time, the water tentacle king's tentacles wrapped around the snake tightly. Wang! Hiss hiss hiss. The deep black cross fell on the countless snake heads, and they were obliterated instantly. Fresh blood and energy condensed into the shape of a strange blood-red angel. The angel was nailed on the cross, and this increased the power of the cross significantly. Hiss hiss hiss. The water snake flailed around in fear, but it couldn't escape under the restraint of the water tentacle king. The cross continued to fall, penetrating the water snake's body, and killing it. What a powerful cross-skull nail. No wonder it's an innate spiritual treasure that killed an archangel. Wang Xian was shocked as he flew over to collect the corpse. The attack of the cross-skull nail was simple, but its power was indeed terrifying. Especially when it injured the enemy, and when the blood-red angel was formed, its power would increase exponentially. This Lord Dragon King is so strong. The ancestral dragon bloodline expert, who was a first-order universe sovereign, looked at Wang Xian in shock, and couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. A second-order universe sovereign realm wild beast was killed so easily, and it didn't even have a chance to escape. This strength was too terrifying. He could only last a few seconds under the attack of the wild beast. This wild beast couldn't even last a few seconds under the attack of the Dragon King. Swish swish swish. At this time, Green Dragon Shu Ying and the rest flew over and looked over. Are you alright? Where's that horrifying wild beast? Green Dragon Shu Ying and the rest asked in shock when they saw the expert. Killed by the Dragon King. That expert swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in shock. Killed. Green Dragon Shu Ying and the rest were taken aback, and their faces were filled with disbelief. A second-order universe sovereign realm wild beast was killed. In just a few seconds. They immediately looked at Wang Xian in front of them, and their eyes were filled with shock. I've already dealt with it. Wang Xian looked at them and said with a smile. Brother Wang Xian, do you have a powerful innate cardinal treasure? Green Dragon Yu opened his mouth and couldn't help but ask. No, but I have a powerful weapon. Wang Xian smiled and continued, wild beasts of the same level shouldn't be a problem for me to kill. Awesome. With you around, our chances of finding the Dragon Palace will be much higher. Green Dragon Shu Ying exclaimed in surprise. They didn't expect the Dragon King to be so strong. No wonder he could force the 100 Cities Alliance to such a state. Let's continue, said Wang Xian with a smile. Chapter 3490, Wang Xian's strength shocked Azure Dragon Shadow, Azure Dragon Moon, and the rest. But the search had to continue. The group continued moving forward. Time passed day by day. Apart from searching for the Dragon Palace, they could also hunt down some Universe Lord-level wild beasts. To Wang Xian, this was a win-win situation for both resources and treasures. Killing a Level 2 Universe Lord-level wild beast would increase the number of Level 2 Universe Lords in the Dragon Palace by 1. Dragon King, I sense the power of light here. One day, 2 months later, the Water Tentacle King suddenly said to Wang Xian. Huh? Wang Xian was taken aback and squinted his eyes. Is it the aura of a divine dragon? He asked. Should be, but I'm not too sure. The Water Tentacle King replied. Wang Xian nodded and looked around cautiously. They continued forward. Another 2 days later, Wang Xian also sensed the aura of the light divine dragon. Even the divine dragon lineage could sense the dragon aura. Dragon King. At this time, Azure Dragon Shadow, Azure Dragon Moon, and the rest flew over with solemn expressions. Did you sense it? Wang Xian nodded. A very intense divine dragon aura with radiance. It should be the light divine dragon. The other party has already scouted the area in front of us. We can conceal ourselves and search for the light divine dragons. Azure Dragon Shadow's eyes flickered. Now that the light divine dragons were also searching for the Dragon Palace, there would be a fight if they encountered them. Since they had already searched this area, there was no need for them to search again. Now, they could investigate the strength of the divine dragon lineage. If the other party was too strong, they would have to be wary of their ambush even if they found the Dragon Palace. If the other party was weak, they could act according to the circumstances. Sure. Wang Xian nodded. The group gathered together and continued to fly forward while sensing the remnant divine dragon aura. Do they know you guys will be searching for the Dragon Palace? Suddenly, the Water Tentacle King on Wang Xian's shoulder asked Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest. Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest were taken aback and shook their heads. We don't know if they know either. He answered. They should be able to get rid of the divine dragon aura, but it still lingers in the surroundings. Either they did it on purpose, or they are too brazen. The Water Tentacle King continued. Be careful. Wang Xian said to them. Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the others nodded with a serious look on their faces. The group scanned their surroundings vigilantly and continued to fly forward. Dragon King, someone is spying on us. It's that plant over there. It's a demonic beast. After flying for another hour, the Water Tentacle King's voice suddenly rang in Wang Xian's mind. Hearing this, his eyes focused on the plant. It was a very ordinary plant, no different from the plants found at the bottom of the underground river. When Wang Xian glanced over, he did not even notice that it was a demonic beast. If not for the Water Tentacle King's reminder, he really wouldn't have known. In the next instant, Wang Xian's figure flickered and disappeared instantly. He appeared beside the demonic beast of grass and wood. With a swing of his arm, he grabbed at it. When Qing Longyu and the rest saw Wang Xian's sudden action, they were taken aback. Soul assimilation. When Wang Xian caught hold of this demonic beast, he used the soul assimilation technique with a thought. Wang. A stream of information entered Wang Xian's mind. When he saw this information, his eyes lit up. Demonic beast. Heavenly Plants Clan? Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the rest were taken aback when they saw this demonic beast. Wang Xian opened his eyes and nodded slightly. The Heavenly Plants Clan was a subsidiary clan under the Angel Clan. The Heavenly Plants Clan was very strong and not weaker than the Sacred Dragon bloodline. According to the information Wang Xian received, they were here to look for the Azure Dragon Palace. Why is the Heavenly Plants Clan involved? Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the rest did not look good. This was not good news for them. Did this mean that the Heavenly Plants Clan was also involved in the war between the Sacred Dragon bloodline and the Ancestral Dragon bloodline? Wang Xian did not get much information from the memory of this Heavenly Plants Clan. This Heavenly Plants Clan was only responsible for monitoring the surrounding information. If any disciples of the Ancestral Dragon bloodline came, they would report immediately. Their information had already been reported to their superiors. Moreover, there were many universe venerable level heaven plant demonic beasts scattered all over the underground river. Let's move forward. Be careful. The other party might ambush us. Besides, the other party has sent out a lot of people. They might have already found the Dragon Palace, said Wang Xian with a frown. Dragon King, I don't think we need to go with them. They're too slow. With your speed and my sensitivity in the water, we can search dozens of times faster than we are now. The voice of the Water Tentacle King rang in Wang Xian's mind. Wang Xian pondered for a moment. Brother Qing Long Yu, I need to move a little faster, so I'll go on my own. If there's any news, I'll contact you immediately. Wang Xian looked at Azure Dragon Moon and said. Sure. Be careful, Dragon King. Azure Dragon Moon and Azure Dragon Whisker exchanged a glance and nodded. All right. I'll make a move first. The unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind Wang Xian. He nodded to the Azure Dragon Moon and the rest before disappearing in the next instant. What incredible speed! The face of the Azure Dragon Shadow revealed a shocked expression. The strength of the Dragon King isn't simple. The old man who was saved by Wang Xian spoke with radiance flickering in his eyes. I didn't expect Brother Wang Xian to improve so much in such a short period of time. Azure Dragon Moon murmured. Water Tentacle King, try your best to sense the surroundings. Find the people from the Dragon Palace or the Sacred Dragon lineage as soon as possible. Wang Xian instructed from the front. Yes, Dragon King. The Water Tentacle King nodded his head and extended his tentacles to the surroundings. The suction cups on the tentacles opened up. Wang Xian's speed was fast. The senses of the Water Tentacle King were terrifying. Their senses were 10 times faster than before. Dragon King, hide yourself to the right. Within a few days, the voice of the Water Tentacle King was heard. Following which, a blue light shrouded Wang Xian and the rest. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes, slowed down a little, and flew to the right. There are many living beings ahead. Moreover, the energy over there is much denser. It should be a grotto heaven, and it might be where the Dragon Palace is located. The Water Tentacle King continued. Wang Xian began to hide himself and approached the front slowly. Dragon King, there are many members of the Heavenly Plants Clan with strong concealment abilities ahead. Be careful not to be discovered. The Water Tentacle King continued to warn as they neared. Chapter 3491. The Sky Plants race was a subsidiary race of the Angel race. Sky plants, represented that they were plants of the heaven and earth. Once these demonic beasts retracted their aura and energy, they would be completely different from ordinary vegetation. If it weren't for the fact that the Water Tentacle King was a giant star beast, it would have been very difficult to discover them. What rank are they? Wang Xian asked. The strongest one is at the First Order Universe Sovereign Realm. Dragon Palace, if you conceal yourself, they won't be able to detect you. The Water Tentacle King said. Wang Xian nodded his head and began to conceal himself. Under his concealment, it was very difficult for someone of the same level to detect him. The Heaven Plant Demon Beasts were clearly spies that the Sacred Dragon bloodline and the Heaven Plant race had set up to monitor the surroundings. However, they hadn't expected that a water-attributed star behemoth like the Aqua Tentacle King would exist. Many star behemoths with peak bloodlines were even more powerful than members of peak species. They were few in number, but their abilities were terrifying. For example, the Kuan fed on divine dragons and phoenixes. If a divine dragon of the same level fought a Kuan of the same level, it might not be a match for the Kuan without a powerful treasure. The strength of a Kuan was comparable to a mutated divine dragon. Although the Water Tentacle King wasn't as monstrously powerful, it was still quite powerful. Wang Xian concealed himself and passed through easily under the surveillance of the Heavenly Plants clan. Furthermore, Lingling, who was a half-living fairy, was of the wood attribute. With the change in her aura, it was even harder for them to detect her. TSK, there are more than 200 heaven plant demonic beasts. Looks like they sent many people over. As Wang Xian passed through, the King of Water Tentacles said, "The Azure Dragon's Dragon Palace is extremely attractive to the wood-attributed heavenly plant race," said Wang Xian. The Azure Dragon Palace, the Azure Dragon's collection, even a wood element third-order sovereign realm expert would covet it. He just didn't know if there were any third-order sovereign realm heavenly plants. If there were, it would be troublesome. It's right in front. Wang Xian looked ahead. He could sense an intense energy coming from the front. It should belong to the Blessed Enclave. There was a high chance that the Azure Dragon's Dragon Palace was located near the Blessed Land. Buzz. 2 light element second-order sovereign realm experts, 3 wood element second-order sovereign realm experts. As Wang Xian approached, the voice of the Water Tentacle King rang in his mind. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and approached carefully. Soon, a humongous dragon palace appeared in his sight. At this moment, the top of the dragon palace was slowly covered by branches. In front of them stood more than 20 figures. There were 5 from the sacred dragon bloodline, while the rest were all experts from the Skyplant clan. They looked at the dragon palace in front of them, obviously waiting. It isn't easy to enter the dragon palace of a third-order universe sovereign realm divine dragon. If Senior Azure Dragon was prepared, even experts on the same level as him wouldn't be able to break through. If he didn't take it away, he must have used some special method to break through. Wang Xian looked at this scene and mumbled to himself. He was pleasantly surprised. 5 second-order sovereigns were enough to deal with him. He took out the Universe AI and passed the information to Azure Dragon Moon. Then, he scanned his surroundings and began to investigate. The branches slowly covered the entire Dragon Palace. At this moment, they had already covered 1/3 of the palace. It was as if they would open the Dragon Palace when it was completely covered. 3 days later, Azure Dragon Moon and the others arrived. You guys weren't discovered by the Skyplant demonic beasts?" Wang Xian asked in surprise when he saw them. "Dragon King, you told us in advance. Naturally, we could come here without any problems. After all, we are also divine dragons." The Azure Dragon Beard Shadow smiled. Being of the same wood attribute, Azure Dragon was indeed much stronger than the Skyplant clan. Wang Xian nodded and pointed to the front. A total of 5 second-order universe sovereigns and 18 first-order universe sovereigns. As he spoke, he looked at Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest. "Brother Azure Dragon Moon, Brother Shu Ying, I can deal with 5 second-order universe sovereigns. However, can you guys open the Dragon Palace quickly? If you can't open it immediately, the other party might send more reinforcements." "Open it immediately?" Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest shook their heads bitterly. They couldn't open the Dragon Palace of this senior immediately. "Forget it, I still have a way." Wang Xian nodded slightly. He wasn't in a hurry. If they couldn't open it, Enlai would be able to enter directly. "Get ready to destroy them." Wang Xian looked at them and said, "Brother Wang Xian, are you confident?" Azure Dragon Moon looked at Wang Xian and asked. "Don't worry, leave the 5 second-order universe sovereigns to me." Wang Xian nodded confidently. Lingling, Aqua Tentacle King, Dark Ghost, 5 Elements Grindstone, and himself. This would be a 5v5. Moreover, their strength couldn't be treated as ordinary experts. "I'll make the first move. You guys follow behind." The unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind Wang Xian. His face was covered by a skull cross. In the next instant, he dashed forward. The tentacles of the Aqua Tentacle King rose. The 5 elements grindstone appeared above Wang Xian's head. Dark Ghost's doppelganger also began to form. At this instant, Wang Xian exploded with terrifying strength. Ahead, 2 experts from the sacred dragon bloodline were closest to Wang Xian. The other 3 second-order universe sovereigns stood in front of a tree. They were clearly controlling the branches of the tree to cover the dragon palace. Wang Xian's attack alerted the 2 Radiant's divine dragons. Their expressions changed and they looked behind them. Roar roar. At the same time, they transformed into their divine dragon forms and blasted a beam of light energy behind them. Too slow. Wang Xian revealed a cold smirk. Unless the other party had an inborn cardinal treasure, even experts from the pinnacle races would die if he launched a sneak attack. Boom. Wang Xian dashed over and locked on to a Radiant's divine dragon. The attacks from Aqua Tentacle King, 5 elements grindstone, Dark Ghost's doppelganger, and himself landed on the Radiant's divine dragon instantly. No. Sensing the unparalleled strength, the Radiant's divine dragon roared in horror. Bam! Instantly killed, even if it was a purebred divine dragon. The Dragon King has terrifying strength. Let's strike. When the azure dragon whiskered shadow saw this scene, he swallowed his saliva and moved. Roar roar. He immediately transformed into an azure dragon and charged towards the Radiant's divine dragon and Heaven Plant's beast. Azure Dragon Moon and the rest followed closely behind. Oh no, there's an attack from experts. Be careful. When the other light divine dragon saw this, his expression changed drastically and he roared in shock. Chapter 3492, There's an attack from the ancestral dragon bloodline. Be careful. Damn it, kill them. A second-order universe sovereign Radiant's divine dragon was killed by Wang Xian. Everyone was enraged. That was a top-notch expert among them, and it was killed in an instant. Shit. Above the dragon palace, the 3 second-order universe sovereigns were shocked when they sensed the aura. Quick, help me. Another Radiant's divine dragon was filled with fear as he roared at the Heaven Plant demonic beast. Slash. Cross skull spike. After killing 1 Radiant's divine dragon, Wang Xian charged towards the 2nd Radiant's divine dragon. The unparalleled might caused his face to be filled with fear. This attack was too terrifying. The second-order universe sovereign Radiant's divine dragon shuddered violently as he formed the strongest defense in front of him. Attack. The 3 Heaven Plant demonic beasts' faces changed as they sent their vines towards Wang Xian. Ka. However, their attacks were too slow. Wang Xian completely disregarded their attacks. The cross-skull spike broke through the 2nd Radiant's divine dragon's defense and headed towards its body. Ah! A blood-red angel appeared on the spike as the Radiant's divine dragon let out a blood-curdling scream. Death enveloped it. 2 consecutive Radiant's divine dragons couldn't escape Wang Xian's attack. Too strong. It was too easy for Wang Xian to kill an existence of the same level. SSS, another Radiant's divine dragon was killed by the Dragon King. Ha ha ha, great. When Azure Dragon Whisker and the others saw this scene, their faces lit up with excitement. Killing 2 Radiant's divine dragons in an instant. There were only 3 second-order universe sovereigns left. Be careful, his strength is terrifying. The 3 Heaven Plant demonic beasts narrowed their eyes when they saw this. They didn't rush over recklessly. Instead, they sent their vines towards Wang Xian from a distance. Swish. Wang Xian saw their long-range attacks and revealed a look of disdain. His unbeginning sacred wings flickered. Swish swish swish. Vines broke as he flew towards the 3 Heaven Plant demonic beasts at a terrifying speed. The 5 elements grindstone contained immense power, and the Water Tentacle King also emanated a heart-palpitating power. Seeing this scene, the 3 Heaven Plant demonic beasts glanced at each other with serious expressions. Heaven Plant, engulf. The 3 of them had gloomy expressions on their faces as their bodies transformed into giant trees with blurry faces. A wave of energy flowed into a tree behind him. That tree was the powerful inborn spiritual treasure that coiled around the Dragon Palace. An incomparably thick branch with sharp thorns shot towards Wang Xian. Roar. Wang Xian let out a deep roar and transformed into a wood attribute divine dragon. A green aura surged upwards. Hualala. The water tentacle king also condensed a sharp stream of water and attacked the giant tree. Bam bam bam. The giant tree that was attacking them was quickly defeated. At the front, the expressions of the three heaven plant beasts changed greatly. Go. He growled and ordered all the disciples and experts. Our two lords have already fallen. Run. Let's go. The experts from the ancestral dragon lineage are very strong. All the experts, disciples, and heaven plant demonic beasts of the sacred dragon lineage roared and fled immediately upon hearing the order. Trying to escape. Go to hell. The green dragon whiskered shadow's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he locked onto an expert from the sacred dragon lineage. Oh no. That expert from the sacred dragon lineage was just an alternative dragon and not a purebred light divine dragon. Facing the green dragon whiskered shadow, who was a level higher than him, he was horrified. Being locked onto by a green dragon, he couldn't escape at all. Very soon, the thorny vines completely surrounded him and killed him. In the surroundings, the experts and disciples of the sacred dragon lineage fled rapidly back to their own holy nations. At the forefront, Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly as he watched the three heaven plant demonic beasts fleeing. It would be hard for him to stop them if they fled immediately. However, Wang Xian wasn't bothered. His main target this time was the Azure Dragon Palace. In addition, he had killed 2 light divine dragons. In addition to the previous one, there were a total of 3. The previous light divine dragon wasn't absorbed by the dragon transformation pool. Wang Xian wanted to revive the other disciples of the Dragon Palace with the bodies of the light divine dragons. In this case, there would be 3 more light divine dragons in the Dragon Palace. The 3 heaven plant demonic beasts disappeared, and so did the vines that entangled the Azure Dragon Palace. A dragon palace appeared in everyone's sight. All of them escaped. We killed 2 Universe Lord level experts from the sacred dragon lineage. Behind, the excited laughter of Azure Dragon and the rest could be heard. Dragon King, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Are you a mutated divine dragon? The green dragon whiskered shadow flew over and looked at Wang Xian in shock. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head with a smile. He was now a mutated divine dragon. You're really a mutated divine dragon. Brother Wang Xian, you might be the only mutated divine dragon in the universe. The green dragon whiskered shadow widened his eyes. Our ancestral dragon leader is just a purebred divine dragon. Perhaps one day, Brother Wang Xian will break through to the Universe Lord realm. Azure Dragon Moon flew over and said with beaming eyes. Now, he finally understood why Wang Xian could use several attributes. Only a mutated divine dragon could do that. Let's not talk about anything else. When Dragon King reaches the limits of a universe supremacy, he will be comparable to a Universe Lord expert. The other experts from the ancestral dragon lineage also flew over and looked at Wang Xian in awe. Hee. Wang Xian chuckled. Let's enter Senior Azure Dragon's Dragon Palace first. The heaven plant demonic beasts of the sacred dragon lineage won't let this go easily. Alright, let's see if we can enter. The green dragon whiskered shadow and the rest nodded and flew above the dragon palace. Wang Xian flew above and sized up the entire dragon palace with flickering eyes. It's not easy to enter. The defense of this dragon palace is very strong. Moreover, there's a grotto heaven and blessed land below the dragon palace. This grotto heaven and blessed land has a unique feature, which is that it enhances the defense of this dragon palace. The water tentacle king stared at the Azure Dragon Palace and said, "Do you have any way to enter?" Wang Xian looked at the green dragon whiskered shadow, Azure Dragon Moon, and the rest and asked. We, the ancestral dragon lineage, have some connections between purebred bloodlines. We can give it a try. The green dragon whiskered shadow said. He looked at Azure Dragon Moon. Both of them came to the dragon gate of the dragon palace. With a wave of his arm, a stream of his blood dripped onto the dragon gate. Junior Azure Dragon Shadow. Junior Azure Dragon Moon, Senior Azure Dragon's remnant consciousness, please allow us to enter your dragon palace. Both of them bowed respectfully as their blood dripped onto the dragon gate. Wang. In the next instant, the energy within the dragon gate opened up a gap. Chapter 3493. Her? It's opened. When Wang Xian saw the dragon palace opening, he was surprised. The experts from the ancestral dragon lineage once said that if they fall, as long as they have the pure bloodline of the ancestral dragon, there's a high chance of opening their dragon palace. Azure Dragon Shadow said with a smile. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. This was also the trust that the experts of the ancestral dragon lineage had for their disciples. They did not want their treasures to be taken away by others or fall into obscurity after an accident. The Azure Dragon Palace opened, and the aura of the Azure Dragon surged in. Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest walked in with flickering eyes. Dragon King, please. As they spoke, Wang Xian followed closely behind them. Once inside, there was an incomparably huge tree. The huge tree was on both sides, and there were 8 words carved on it. Divine Dragon Reigns. Return to the peak. The 8 words represented senior Azure Dragon's expectations for the Divine Dragon clan. It was a pity that he would never be able to see the moment when the Divine Dragon reached the peak. Looking at these words, Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the others felt their hearts tremble, and they respectfully bowed. Wang Xian bowed as well. He was full of respect for such an expert. We, the disciples of the ancestral dragon lineage, will enter Senior's Dragon Palace and inherit Senior's Dragon Palace. We will definitely avenge Senior. Azure Dragon Shadow and the rest swore with murderous intent on their faces. After standing in front for a few seconds, the group walked in. The layout of the Dragon Palace was basically the same. After passing through the front, they arrived at the Dragon Palace's herb garden. So many divine fruits and divine trees. Wang Xian was shocked when he arrived at the herb garden. Within the Dragon Palace of Senior Azure Dragon, there were many third-order Universe Lord divine herbs, divine fruits, and divine trees. They were definitely priceless. The group took a look, but didn't take them away immediately. This time, they weren't just going to take away these treasures, but the entire Dragon Palace. The group continued forward, and the Dragon King Hall appeared in everyone's sight. Upon entering the Dragon King Hall, there were flowers on both sides. The flowers were gorgeous and emitted a fragrance. They have sentience. Water Tentacle King's voice suddenly sounded. Are you experts from the ancestral dragon lineage? As soon as she finished her sentence, the surrounding flowers turned into human forms and stared at them. Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the others were slightly surprised, but they immediately nodded. We are the Azure Dragon disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline, the descendants of Lord Azure Dragon Wasteflower. Azure Dragon's Beard Shadow and the others immediately transformed into divine dragons and revealed their identities. Big Sister is already dead. She will never come back. The dozen or so flower-shaped women said sorrowfully with tears in their eyes. We shall inherit Senior's will. Azure Dragon Beard Shadow and the rest bowed to the flower fairies. Sister said that if she dies, the ancestral dragons would attribute Universe Ruler and above can inherit everything from her. A flower fairy in the center spoke. She looked at them and said, which one of you will inherit this dragon palace? Dragon King, I will inherit this dragon palace. All the resources in the dragon palace will belong to you. If not for you, we would not have been able to obtain Senior's dragon palace. It might have fallen into the hands of the sacred dragon bloodline. Green Dragon Whiskered Shadow looked at Wang Xian, cupped his fist and said, all right. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. The dragon palace of a third-order universe ruler was worth a fortune. However, the value of the treasures in this dragon palace was slightly higher than the value of this dragon palace. Wang Xian was very satisfied with his gains. After all, this dragon palace belonged to the ancestral dragon bloodline. Another 2 second-order universe ruler Radiant's divine dragons have fallen. At the same time, in an empty space, Sacred Dragon King received the news from his subordinates. His face was dark. Radiant's divine dragons were the pillar of the sacred dragon bloodline. There were less than 100 purebred Radiant's divine dragons in the entire sacred dragon bloodline. There were not many second-order universe rulers. Now, another two had fallen. Lord Sacred Dragon King, they were ambushed and killed when they were collecting the Azure Dragon Palace. The other party's strength is terrifying. A Radiance Divine Dragon reported from the side. Ancestral Dragon Bloodline. ChMPH, leave it to the Tianji tribe. Tell them that we don't want the Azure Dragon Palace anymore. We'll give it all to them. Sacred Dragon King snorted and said coldly. Yes, Lord Sacred Dragon King. The Radiance Divine Dragon replied immediately. Ancestral Dragon Bloodline, you're not far from extinction. Sacred Dragon King stared at the shadow in front of him, his eyes filled with murderous intent. His body moved and he flew forward directly. Soon, he was in a huge forest. This was a very special forest. The trees were running, and the grass was flying around. The branches danced in the air. In the center, there was a huge tree. The entire tree covered the sky and was the size of a few planets. Above the tree, a few trees landed on the ground. A third-order universe ruler dragon palace is very useful to us. I'll come personally. The 8 of you, follow me to snatch the dragon palace. A golden Tianji tribe demonic beast said plainly. Yes, Lord Golden Hoop. We have to hurry over. Otherwise, the ancestral dragon bloodline might get the dragon palace. A Tianji tribe demonic beast answered immediately. Have you placed the Tianji seeds? The 10-meter-tall, completely humanoid golden hoop Tianji tribe demonic beast scanned the 3 subordinates in front of him and asked. The seeds have been planted. These 3 heaven plant demonic beasts were the 3 that had escaped not long ago, and they answered. Let's go, we'll head over immediately. The golden hoop Tianji tribe demonic beast answered plainly. He extended a branch and a seed appeared in front of him. Slowly, his body began to enter the seed. This process was extremely slow. 5 to 6 hours later, only half of his body had disappeared. At the same time, at an underground river in the coiling grounds, a seed buried at the bottom of the river started to grow. One after another, huge flowers appeared and slowly bloomed. 10 hours later, the 9 seeds grew to over 10 meters in size. They looked like lotus flowers, but they had yet to bloom. At this time, the lotus flowers started to bloom, and figures appeared inside. Tianji tribe demonic beast experts. This was one of the powerful abilities of Tianji tribe demonic beasts. As long as they left their tribe in one place, their true body could be transferred here. Although it required a long process, it saved a lot of time as compared to rushing over. Of course, there were drawbacks. If the seeds were destroyed, or if the seeds were destroyed while they were growing, then they wouldn't be able to teleport over. Let's go and eliminate the disciples of the ancestral dragon bloodline. The Azure Dragon Palace belongs to us. The golden hoop Tianji tribe demonic beast's body shone brightly, and his body emitted killing intent. Chapter 3494, Lord, one of them is very strong. He can kill a second-order universe sovereign in an instant. Even 2 Radiance Divine Dragons were killed by him. He has a pair of powerful wings. I wonder if it's a treasure or something else. It can allow him to display the speed of a third-order universe sovereign. 9 heaven plant demonic beasts were traversing the riverbed of the Twisted Land. A heaven plant demonic beast expert reported to the Golden Ring heaven plant demonic beast. A purebred green dragon? Let's destroy it and absorb it as nourishment. The Golden Ring plant demonic beast's eyes lit up with anticipation. The green dragon was a precious nourishment to him. If he could absorb it, he might be able to improve his strength further. The 8 Golden Ring plant demonic beasts smiled at the confidence of their lord. Their lord was a mutated existence among the heaven plant demonic beasts. He possessed wood and metal attributes and was extremely powerful. The 9 heaven plant demonic beasts flew towards the Green Dragon Palace. Their speed was fast, and the Dragon Palace was not far from them. At this moment, within the Dragon Palace, the Azure Dragon Whisker Shadow was refining the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian began to devour all the resources and convert them into dragon energy. Although there were more resources here, it was still a distance away from Wang Xian's breakthrough. The Green Dragon Shadow would need some time to refine the Dragon Palace. Moreover, he could not refine it to 100%. He could only control the dragon palace. Time ticked by, and the 9 heaven plant demonic beasts appeared in front of the dragon palace. They scanned the surroundings. Hualala. A golden branch extended from the golden ring plant demonic beast, and a golden mirror appeared. They've already entered the dragon palace. Very good, it's a good opportunity to catch them all. Kill them all. He looked at the dragon palace and revealed a smile. Lord, we can seal them there completely. A heaven plant demonic beast said with beaming eyes. The golden ring plant demonic beast nodded his head. He moved and appeared above the dragon palace. Take out the devouring tree, he said. Yes, Lord. A heaven plant demonic beast waved his arm, and a tree flew to the front of the golden ring plant demonic beast. The roots of the tree looked like a huge mouth that had split open. His roots landed on the tree one by one, and waves of energy surged into it. In the next moment, the branches covered the dragon palace. Guard the 4 dragons' gates. Kill anyone who comes out. The golden ring plant beast ordered. Yes, my lord. The 8 heaven plant demonic beast experts responded and immediately came above the 4 dragon gates. Thistles and thorns covered them. In the azure dragon palace, Wang Xian was sitting cross-legged and absorbing resources. When he sensed the situation outside, he opened his eyes and looked out immediately. At this moment, the azure dragon shadow in the Dragon King Hall immediately opened his eyes. Buzz. With a thought, he could see everything outside the dragon palace clearly. Su. Qing Long Yu and the rest flew towards Wang Xian with solemn expressions. How is this possible? They instantly escaped back to their own divine kingdoms. How did they come back so quickly? An expert from the sacred dragon lineage said with an ugly expression. The azure dragon shadow was also a little embarrassed. The other party is very strong. If I'm not wrong, they should be third-order universe sovereigns. He said with a solemn expression. A third-order sovereign realm expert wasn't someone they could contend against. The 8 heaven plant demonic beasts around are second-order universe sovereigns. Wang Xian sensed the situation outside and frowned slightly. Logically speaking, the heaven plant demonic beasts would need at least a few months to rush back after escaping back to their own divine kingdoms. If the distance was further, it might even take a few years. But the other party rushed back in just a dozen hours. This was completely out of their expectations. The other party had used the tree to surround the entire dragon palace. They were like turtles in a jar. Unless they gave up on the dragon palace. Oh no, I can sense that the space around us has been sealed. At this moment, the azure dragon shadow's expression changed drastically. Wang Xian sensed and confirmed that the space around them had been completely sealed. He looked outside with a glimmer in his eyes. We have to break through. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble if the other party completely seals the dragon palace. The azure dragon shadow looked at Wang Xian solemnly and said, Brother azure dragon shadow, how long do you need to control this dragon palace? Wang Xian asked. It will take at least 3 months. The azure dragon shadow answered. I can only use some of the power of the dragon palace after I've refined it. 3 months. Wang Xian pondered for a moment. I'll lure the third-order universe sovereign away first to buy some time. If there's no chance, I'll send someone to fetch you guys. Dragon King, you want to restrain that expert? No, it's too dangerous. The azure dragon moon shook his head immediately. Don't worry. Since I dare to make a move, I'm confident. Wang Xian smiled. He squinted his eyes and stared at the golden plant demonic beast. If it didn't have any powerful treasures, Wang Xian could restrain it. Brother azure dragon shadow, quickly take control of this dragon palace. I'll go out and try. Wang Xian continued speaking to them. The azure dragon shadow's expression changed. He cupped his fists and said, Dragon King, please be careful. Don't worry. A disciple of my dragon palace will come later. If there's no other way, they can help you guys out. Wang Xian said to them. He moved and flew towards one of the dragon gates. At the entrance of the dragon gate, he set up a demonic soul altar and sent a message to Enlai. After receiving a reply, he looked outside. Third Order Universe Sovereign. Let's try it today, Wang Xian murmured. Lingling appeared on his shoulder while the dark ghost doppelganger appeared beside him. The Water Tentacle King had been lying on his other shoulder while the Five Elements Great Grindstone hovered above his head. The Tai Chi Dragon Wheel was advertising around him. In the next instant, he moved. The Divine Dragon on the Five Elements Great Grindstone roared and blasted away the thorny vines covering the Dragon Gate. The other party has started to retaliate. The two Heaven Plant demonic beasts at the Dragon Gate narrowed their eyes when they saw the thorny vines being blasted away. Without the slightest hesitation, they directly bombarded the entrance. Chapter 3495. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Streaks of razor-sharp thorns shrouded Wang Xian. Swoosh. Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning saint wings. The Tai-Kai dragon coils spun around him while the Aqua Tentacle King formed a defense. Boom. He completely resisted the opponent's attack, flapped his unbeginning saint wings, and attacked the Golden Ring Heaven Plant Demon Beast in the sky. Ha! The Golden Ring Plant Beast stared at Wang Xian with cold and disdainful eyes. Azure Dragon? You're courting death. Swoosh. In the next instant, branches that looked like metal sheets attacked Wang Xian. Wang Xian focused his gaze. Energy surged into the Five Elements grindstone and clashed with the golden branches. The companion spirit, Lingling, and the Aqua Tentacle King and Dark Ghost Doppelganger attacked at the same time. With our combined strength, it's more than enough. The Aqua Tentacle King roared confidently. Be it Wang Xian, the Five Elements grindstone, or the Aqua Tentacle King, none of them could be understood by common sense. They were existences that could easily kill those of the same level. All the attacks clashed violently with the golden branches. Boom! The golden branches began to melt, and so did Wang Xian's attacks. They blocked it. Ha! At the front, the Golden Ring Heaven Plant Beast was taken aback when it saw this scene. He scanned Wang Xian's body with glistening eyes. What's that? Companion spirit? And the Dark Ghost Doppelganger? How is this possible? What kind of opportunity is this? The Golden Ring Heaven Plant Beast revealed a shocked expression. Swoosh. In the next instant, his eyes glowed as he attacked Wang Xian. Attack! Wang Xian bellowed. The unbeginning Saint Wings and the Aqua Tentacle King flew to both sides, with the Dark Ghost Doppelganger in the middle. Wang Xian made use of his speed to vanish instantly and reappear above the plant demon beast. Chimph, nice speed. But you want to suppress me with this speed. The Golden Ring Heaven Plant Beast harumphed coldly, and golden branches extended from its body. There were golden leaves on the branches. These leaves were extremely sharp. His attack enveloped Wang Xian in the Five Elements grindstone, the Aqua Tentacle King, and the Dark Ghost Doppelganger. Bam bam bam! The sound of collision reverberated again. This time, Wang Xian was sent flying. He roared and instantly transformed into an azure dragon. Brandishing his dragon claws, he similarly sent thorny vines flying towards Yi Futian. Golden wildness, obliterate them. TSK, I really didn't expect an azure dragon to possess so many opportunities. Today, all of your opportunities belong to me. The golden ring plant let out a frenzied roar as golden leaves swept towards Wang Xian and the rest. It was as if a hurricane was blowing the incomparably sharp leaves, cutting through the void and attacking indiscriminately. When Wang Xian saw the attack, his expression changed slightly. His figure flickered, instantly arriving at the side of the Five Elements grindstone. Relying on his speed, he gathered with the Water Tentacle King and Dark Ghost Avatar. Block! He growled, and layers of defense were erected in front of him. Boom boom boom! Wang Xian and the rest barely withstood the horrifying attacks. Divine Dragon playing with pearls. Wang Xian bellowed and released his strongest Dharma idol attack. An illusory image of a divine dragon appeared, carrying a dragon ball as it charged towards the golden ring plant beast. Heaven devouring! The Water Tentacle King bellowed. Black holes appeared in the surrounding waters, gradually expanding as they charged towards the golden ring plant beast. TSK, how dare a mere second-order universe sovereign challenge me? When the golden ring plant beast saw that its attacks were fended off consecutively, It was infuriated and its body began to expand crazily. Soon, its body grew to tens of thousands of meters in length, and golden branches shrouded towards Wang Xian and the rest. Dragon King, we can't defeat it. The Water Tentacle King looked at the might of the golden ring plant beast and said. It was easy to resist for a while, but it was impossible to defeat it. Let's go. Wang Xian also understood that if they joined forces, it would be great if they could resist it for a while. It was impossible to defeat it. He just had to attract its attention. Wang Xian flapped his unbeginning sacred wings and fled into the distance. Trying to escape. You're dead. Seed of life, soul chasing. When the golden ring plant beast saw him escaping, it waved its branches and a seed shot towards Wang Xian. Ha! When Wang Xian sensed the seed, his expression changed slightly, and he tried to dodge. However, this strange seed entered his body directly. When the seed entered his body, he didn't feel any discomfort, and the race disappeared instantly. What's this? With a thought, he mobilized the power of the progenitor tree to search for the race. However, the progenitor tree didn't sense anything. No, this is a kind of aura lock. When the seed entered my body, not only did it not have any side effects, but it also allowed me to absorb it instantly and improve a little. However, it contains a kind of energy, and the opponent can track me through this energy. Wang Xian's mind raced, and his eyes flickered. Ha ha ha, connect. At this moment, the golden ring plant beast let out a maniacal laugh. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly, and a golden leaf appeared on his body. This leaf seemed to have grown out of his body, and it made him frown. Is it using some kind of method to prevent myself from returning to the heavenly kingdom instantly? He murmured to himself with a solemn expression. He flapped his unbeginning sacred wings and flew forward rapidly. You can't escape. You have my life imprint on you. You can't escape. The golden ring plant beast said coldly as it chased after Wang Xian. Its speed wasn't any slower than Wang Xian. After all, his strength was one level lower than it. Feeling the pursuit from behind, Wang Xian's expression turned ugly. Ever since he became enemies with the sacred dragon bloodline, he had been chased several times. After this, I have to raise my fighting strength to the Third Order Universe Lord as soon as possible. At that time, I won't have to fear any living beings below the pinnacle races in the universe. Wang Xian was infuriated, and he flew into the sky quickly. The golden ring plant beast followed closely behind, and from time to time, it would attack with its sharp golden branches. Bam! After flying for 20 minutes, Wang Xian broke through the ground of the entanglement. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. At this moment, the golden thorns converged at the back and pierced towards Wang Xian. Defend! He growled, and a thick defense appeared behind him. Bam! The collision was felt, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of Wang Xian's mouth. Chapter 3496. There's still a gap between me and a Third Order Universe Lord. Wang Xian licked the blood at the corner of his mouth and revealed a cold expression. Although he was hit just now, such a small injury could be healed instantly. Wang Xian's eyes darted towards a direction. He had gained a lot this time. Green Dragon Shadow's only gain was the Green Dragon Palace. Therefore, he had to buy some time for the other party. Otherwise, Green Dragon Shadow and the rest would gain nothing. He had to rely on them to obtain these gains this time. Therefore, he couldn't just abandon them. You can't escape. Behind, the golden ring plant demon beast's eyes were filled with murderous intent as it launched attacks at Wang Xian. Swoosh. Boost. It's impossible for you to catch up with us. Lingling waved the water lotus magic staff in her hand and boosted Wang Xian's body. The Water Tentacle King did the same. This boosted Wang Xian's speed a little. Ha! The golden ring plant demon beast, who was chasing after Wang Xian, frowned as he saw Wang Xian's speed increase. Swish swish swish. It waved the branches on its body and chased after Wang Xian. Wang Xian identified a direction and flew at top speed. I don't believe you can outlast me. The golden ring plant demon beast chased after Wang Xian with a cold expression when it saw that it couldn't keep Wang Xian here. Wang Xian had the golden branch and leaf that he had left behind. He could control this branch and leaf. As long as Wang Xian wanted to escape to his own heavenly kingdom, he could stop him. This was his powerful ability. In fact, Wang Xian knew this too. If he used all the energy of the progenitor tree, he could cover the golden branch. He could escape to his own heavenly kingdom. But he didn't do so. Once he escaped, the other party might target the Green Dragon Palace. Green Dragon Shadow and the rest would be in trouble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As Wang Xian escaped, the golden ring plant demon beast chased after him. This terrifying aura caused the wild beasts along the way to shiver in fear. Swish, swish, swish. Wang Xian and the golden ring plant demon beast maintained a certain distance. It was hard to increase the distance between them. However, the golden ring heaven plant beast would never give up on Wang Xian. An azure dragon holding a large number of treasures, as well as something that seemed to be a companion spirit and a clone of Dark Ghost. His eyes burned with desire. The pursuit and the escape passed day by day. They passed through the tangled land and entered a vast plain, flying at high speed above the plain. That direction? After chasing for close to 2 months, the golden ring plant demon beast frowned slightly. In front of him, an incomparably large tree appeared in his line of sight, exuding a vigorous vitality. That world seemed to be even more beautiful. It's within the fairy clan's territory. The fairy clan's territory forbids all non-fairy disciples from entering. The golden ring heaven plant beast murmured. It wasn't just the elves, it was the same for all the peak races in the universe. Unless the pinnacle races of the universe agreed to let you enter their domain, they would treat you as an intruder. Naturally, the invaders would be killed immediately. I'll be fine as long as I follow behind him. Hehe, let's see where you can run to. The golden ring heaven plant beast revealed a ferocious expression and continued to follow closely behind. Why is the vitality ahead so dense? At this moment, Wang Xian also sensed the changes ahead. Each and every tree was a dozen times larger than the one in the tangled land. Every tree towered into the clouds. In the sky above, there were also some flying birds and beasts. Is there a grotto heaven paradise? He murmured and continued to fly forward without a care for anything else. I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. The border of the pinnacle races of the universe is definitely unapproachable. The eyes of the golden ring heaven plant beast glistened as it prepared to strike at any time. Chirp, chirp. At the same time, within the border of the elves, the chirping of a bird could be heard. Sir, someone has stepped into our domain. The voice of the demonic bird was heard. Whoever dares to step into the territory of the elves, I'll shoot him down. A dozen or so elves immediately walked out of the holes in the trees. As they spoke, their figures disappeared in an instant. The elves didn't have many members. The number of elves bred by the Tree of Life was only slightly more than 1 million. The number of elves bred by the Mother Nature numbered in the hundreds of millions. Those bred by the Tree of Life belonged to the aristocracy of the elves and were comparable to the purebred divine dragons. As for those bred by the Mother, they were like the dragon species in the Dragon Palace. Some of them were comparable to the aristocracy of the elves and were at the pinnacle of the dragon species. Some of them were like the high-level dragon species. At the next moment, a dozen elves levitated on the trees at the border. Countless pairs of sharp eyes looked forward. They were the archers of the elves and belonged to the Arrow of Life among the elves. The border was also guarded by the Arrow of Life. Hey! Their sharp eyes scanned ahead and locked on to Wang Xian and the golden ring heaven plant beast. When they saw Wang Xian, who was fleeing, they paused for a moment. Their gazes fell on Lingling, who was holding a magic staff on Wang Xian's shoulder. This is. Exclamations of astonishment came from the elves. They looked at each other with shock and disbelief. Companion elf. This is the companion elf. Why would the half-living elf of our elves be on the body of a divine dragon? A female elf couldn't help but ask. I don't know. Other than the Tree of Life, there are no other elves that can breed half-living elves. In the history of the elves, there were only 2 living beings who obtained the companion elf of our elves by chance. One is already dead, and the other is Lord Mew Mew. The elf in the center said. Only the royal family of the elves could possess a companion elf. Even the aristocratic elves bred by the Tree of Life would find it hard to possess one. This required the blessing of the Tree of Life and the recognition of the companion elf. As for the royal family, it wasn't hereditary but possessed the companion elf. It could be understood that the royal family of the elves was equivalent to the mutated divine dragon of the divine dragon race. He's being chased and is about to enter our territory. Leader, what should we do? One of the elves asked. Shoot the guy who's chasing after him, the elf leader in the center said without hesitation. A third-order universe sovereign plant-type demonic beast. We need to attack together. The bow appeared in his hand and the bowstring was pulled back slowly. Chapter 3497. Swoosh. Wang Xian followed the leader of the elf tribe and flew towards the center of the elf tribe. The deeper they went, the more intense the vitality. A river appeared around them. The water was so clear that one could see the bottom. Many demonic beasts lived in the river. Ahead is the Celestial Flower City. It's the lair of the Celestial Flower Tribe, a subsidiary tribe of the Elf Tribe. Let's teleport over from here. The leader of the Elf Tribe pointed to the front and introduced to Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the beautiful Celestial Flower City. Instead of calling it the Celestial Flower City, it was more appropriate to call it the Celestial Flower Garden. The city walls were formed by the branches of a special kind of flower. From afar, it looked exceptionally beautiful. Greetings, sir. Wang Xian and the rest flew over to the teleportation formation. The plant-type demonic beasts greeted the leader of the elf tribe. The leader of the elf tribe nodded his head and stepped into the teleportation formation. Wang Xian nodded his head and followed in. Wang. In the next moment, Wang Xian felt an incomparably dense spiritual energy and majestic vitality surging towards him. The life force here was extremely dense. Just taking a breath of it was like drinking immortal wine. Wang Xian was astonished. The energy here was too dense. Compared to the Dragon Palace, the difference was too great. Dad, I can feel the same aura. Lingling said as she looked ahead. Wang Xian lifted his head and looked ahead. He was astonished. A lush green tree stood between heaven and earth. This tree was incomparably dazzling and huge. This tree was the largest tree that Wang Xian had ever seen. On it, many elves were jumping and playing on the branches. The branches floated and sometimes played with the elves. An extremely dense vitality was emitted from this tree. There were even human-shaped fruits growing on the branches. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled as he looked at it. The entire tree stood between heaven and earth as though it was the center of this world. This is the Tree of Life. Wang Xian asked the leader of the elf tribe in astonishment. This is our mother, the mother that gave birth to us elves. The leader of the elf tribe looked ahead with eyes full of respect. The elf tribe was born a few eons ago. It was said that the Tree of Life gave birth to the elf tribe and nurtured a pinnacle tribe. It was rumored that this race had a fairy empress, who was above the ruler level. There was no doubt about the elves' strength. Let's go, I'll bring you to meet the elves' royal family. The elf captain retracted his gaze and said with a smile. Wang Xian nodded. The two of them flew towards the direction of the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life wasn't as domineering and imposing as Wang Xian had imagined. On the contrary, its branches were toying with the little fairies. The sound of laughter could be heard from far away. The surroundings were very harmonious and filled with the aura of nature. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings and found it unusually harmonious. Compared to other places, this place was filled with warmth. There was no hostility, no killing intent, and no killing intent. Hey, Lord Companion Spirit. That foreign life form actually has a companion spirit. That's true. How did he give birth to a companion spirit? As they neared the Tree of Life, some of the elves noticed the companion spirit on Wang Xian's shoulder and discussed it curiously. Lingling was also sizing them up with a curious expression. It's the Tree of Life. This is also my first time seeing it. The Water Tentacle King, who had been lying on Wang Xian's shoulder, looked ahead with shock in its eyes. Even the Water Tentacle King had to look up to the fairy race. This was one of the truly invincible races in the universe. Wait here for a moment, my friend, The elf captain came to the front of the tree of life and said. After which, he flew towards the top of the tree of life. Wang Xian took a look below. Lingling and the water tentacle king were also looking around curiously. Swoosh! Just as the elf captain left, the tree of life suddenly extended a branch and came before Wang Xian and the rest. A leaf on the branch gradually grew bigger and came before them. In the next moment, the branch of the tree of life brought him towards the trunk. Dragon King, the tree of life seems to be very friendly to us. If she gives us some life liquid, we'll be rich. The water tentacle king exclaimed in a low voice with excitement on its face. Wang Xian's eyes flickered when he saw this. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. At this moment, as Wang Xian and the rest were brought over by the tree of life, elves appeared one after another. Every single elf was filled with the aura of nature. When they saw this, they were slightly shocked and didn't say a word. Wang Xian was shocked to see more than 30 elves appearing at the side. All of them were great elves. 8 of them even had a companion elf floating beside them. These companion elves were looking at Lingling curiously. This companion elf is a child of our tribe that was left outside. For some unknown reason, it was born and has already formed a life and death contract with this divine dragon. A great angel was looking at Wang Xian and Lingling. This divine dragon isn't simple. His body contains the 5 elements and yin-yang. The wings on his back are also incredible treasures. It's almost a part of his body. One of the elves looked at Wang Xian and immediately saw through him. If I'm not wrong, the one on his shoulder is a giant space beast. An injured giant space beast that was once a first-order universe lord. Another great angel looked at the water tentacle king. This divine dragon's luck is really strong. A few great angels were discussing. Wang Xian and the rest seemed to have no secrets in front of it. Wang, he. Just as the great angels were discussing, another branch of the tree of life came to Wang Xian and the rest. On this branch, there was a leaf with 3 drops of crystal clear liquid on it. The branch came to Wang Xian. 1 drop fell on Lingling's head while the other fell on the water lotus staff in Lingling's hand. The last drop fell on Wang Xian's body. This is. Wang Xian was shocked when he sensed the energy contained in this drop of liquid. Life liquid. This is the life liquid of the tree of life. Ah, Lord Tree of Life, can you give me a drop? The water tentacle king suddenly cried out and pleaded to the branch. However, the tree of life ignored her. When the life liquid fell on Wang Xian's head, it immediately entered his body. A part of it was converted into energy while the rest was absorbed by the progenitor tree. Wang Xian's body trembled as the energy was converted into dragon energy. He was about to break through. Chapter 3498, it was just a drop of life liquid. After being absorbed by the progenitor tree, the energy contained within was enough for Wang Xian to achieve a breakthrough. He couldn't imagine how terrifying the energy contained within the life liquid was. Roar roar. The crazy energy was converted into dragon energy. He couldn't help but let out a deep roar as he transformed into a divine dragon. A divine dragon glowing in 9 colors stood below the progenitor tree. 9 attributes. He has 9 attributes in him. Although the wind and thunder attributes have yet to be fully integrated, this is amazing. An ambassador stared at Wang Xian's dragon body and exclaimed in shock. The 5 elements and light and darkness have been fully integrated. In other words, he has 7 attributes perfectly. Even the 5 elements Dragon King, one of the strongest divine dragons in the past, pales in comparison. He is the fusion of the 5 elements Dragon King and the light and darkness Dragon King. Several great elves stared at Wang Xian's body with undisguised shock. This was the first time they had seen a divine dragon with 7 attributes. This was also the first time they had seen such a heaven-defying existence. Could it be that the last bit of luck of the divine dragon tribe is on him? One of the great elves couldn't help but ask. He's going to break through. The 20-odd great elves watched as Wang Xian broke through. Ka. Waves of dragon power swept across the surroundings. However, it didn't affect the surroundings much. The elf captain looked on in shock at this tug. Life liquid. Their tree of life had given him 3 drops of life liquid. Ding. Congratulations on breaking through to level 6 universe supremacy. You have comprehended the law of Dharma, life dragon breath. Before long, Wang Xian was overjoyed by the system's notification. Name, Wang Xian race. Yin-Yang Wind and Thunder 5 elements Divine Dragon, Human Dragon Unification, Level 6 Universe Supremacy, 9th Transformation of Divine Dragon Transformation, Origin Source, 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough, Superpower. Dominate the marine animals, rule all marine animals that are lower than your own level, devour living creatures, extract origin source from living creatures, 5 elements control art of cultivation, Divine Dragon Transformation Superpowers. Soul Assimilation, Spiritual Attachment Superpowers, Dragon Eyes Lock, 5 Elements Dragon Claw, Yin-Yang World Breaker, 8 Luminaries Dragon Scale, Saint Dragon Shadow, 8 Dragon Legs, Dragon Tomb, Cloud Dragon Soaring, True Dragon Bodhidharma Form, 8 Directional Dragon Pillar, 8 Dragon's Clone, Towering Dragon Horn, Mighty Dragon, Divine Tail Playing with Pearls, Dragon Breath of Life Law of Mastery, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Darkness, Wind, Lightning Divine Kingdom. Dragon Palace possess Dragon Palace, Queen. Members of Dragon Palace. With a thought, the attributes appeared in Wang Xian's mind, which made him smile. He opened his dragon eyes and scanned his surroundings. He immediately transformed into his human form and cupped his hands toward the Tree of Life in front of him. Thank you, Lord Tree of Life. Thank you, Lords of the Elf Clan. Wang Xian said gratefully. The value of the life liquid was priceless. This wasn't something that could be bought or exchanged for just because you had divine stones or treasures. The only way to obtain the life liquid was through the Tree of Life. However, the Tree of Life was the mother tree of the elven race, and obtaining a single drop of it was undoubtedly an incomparably powerful fortune. Tree of Life, Mother gave you the liquid of life, so she naturally has her ways. Welcome, Divine Dragon, to our elven race. A great elf with a companion spirit smiled at Wang Xian and held a magic staff in the middle. I was also being hunted down and ended up here unintentionally. Thank you, Elf Clan. Wang Xian cupped his hands toward them again. Hehe, this is an opportunity and fortune that belongs to you, and also to us. That great elf said plainly. Swish. Hey, isn't this the aura I sensed from the 12th tier water lotus? It's indeed the aura of a companion spirit. At this time, another great elf flew over. Wang Xian looked over with radiance in his eyes. Greetings, great elf, Life Sound Arrow. You're welcome. The Life Sound Arrow shook its head and looked at Lingling. At this moment, the water lotus in Lingling's hand had expanded to the size of a human head. Lingling had absorbed the life liquid and was sleeping soundly in the lotus. Sound Arrow. Have you guys seen it before? A great elf looked at the Life Sound Arrow and asked curiously. When I was fighting for the 12th tier water lotus not long ago, I sensed this aura. I didn't expect to encounter it so soon. The Life Sound Arrow answered with a smile. Divine Dragon Friend, let's go in. A great elf said to him. Thank you. Wang Xian replied and nodded to them. Following closely behind the group of great elves, Wang Xian followed them to a huge wooden hut on the Tree of Life. The items in the wooden hut were simple and natural. Some fresh flowers decorated the hut, making it extremely beautiful. I wonder how did our divine dragon friend obtain a companion spirit? A great elf looked at the half-life elf lying in the water lotus and couldn't help but ask. By chance, I came across the fruit of a half-life elf. In the past, I obtained some life liquid and placed it in the water lotus to nurture it. Wang Xian explained and covered up the matter of the progenitor tree completely. The secret of the progenitor tree, Wang Xian couldn't let anyone know about the system. Ha! That's really a coincidence. A great elf raised an eyebrow and nodded. He didn't ask for more details. I wonder if you're interested in joining the elf race? The great elf in the middle with a companion spirit asked Wang Xian. Join the elf race? Wang Xian's eyes flickered and he shook his head immediately. To be honest, I'm the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian. I want the divine dragon race to return to its peak. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? I've heard of this before, but I didn't expect you to be the Dragon King. A great elf on the right heard of Wang Xian's name and sized him up again in surprise. Return the divine dragon race to its peak? The life-sound arrow chuckled and exchanged glances with the great elf beside him. That's possible. I've seen that guy from the ancestral dragon bloodline. A great elf who looked a little pale smiled and looked at Wang Xian. In terms of talent and opportunities, he isn't as good as you. It's very unlikely for him to return the divine dragon bloodline to its peak. You, on the other hand, have a higher chance. Senior, you're flattering me. However, it won't be long before I bring the divine dragon race back to its peak. Wang Xian's eyes beamed with confidence. Now that he had broken through, he wasn't far from the last step. Given your opportunities, you might not have 100% chance of breaking through to the Universe Lord Realm, but there's a 90% chance. However, let me remind you. The old great elf looked at Wang Xian and pondered for a moment. If you want the Dragon Palace to return to its peak and enter the ranks of the peak races in the universe, it's best to have a few dozen divine dragons at the Universe Lord Realm. Ha! Wang Xian was slightly surprised when he heard him. Why was it best to have a few dozen?